All right, I want to try a new format here today. Let's do Music Appreciation Friday. I'm just going to go through my playlists on random and show you 5 or 10 tracks you may not have heard. I might skip over them if I feel like it's something that's more, well known, but some of the more obscure stuff. And I want to use these to teach, what production stuff is going on or what unique things about the performance or the composition. And it's going to be really just off the cuff. Most of the stuff I do takes me like 10 hours to make the video, and I'm not even a good video editor. So I'm looking for some little type of episodic thing that I can just do that is quick and maybe fun and shows you a different side. And I really want to have people flex that music appreciation muscle, that love of diverse songs and sounds, and then, the tweaky stuff I like to point out, all that production stuff, all the listen to that bass and that bass working off of each other. That's what I'm going to do, is just show you the things that pop out to me about the song, and hopefully that's something you guys will be able to learn from. So let's go. I'm going to start on a song that just came across my random. I'm starting here. This one's called Daddy's Home by Shep and the Limelights. Many of you know I love doo-wop music. I pretty much just love doo-wop music. Yeah. No, I like a lot of music, but there was this point in the early 60s where the doo-wop of the 50s had sort of turned a little bit more pop, R&B, soul, that kind of thing. But it was kind of like a meeting ground between, R&B and doo-wop. So this is Shep and the Limelights. I love Shep. Is his name Shep Shepherd? I can't believe it. He got gunned down, I think, in Queens way back in the day, just in his car. But this song is amazing. Daddy's Home. There's some cool background vocals, and the sound of his voice is incredible. Let's just listen to the production real quick before I get into the rest of it. So it starts with just a tremolo vibraphone. You're my love, you're my angel. Okay, first thing, let's just listen to the guy's voice. Back in those old doo-wop days, you would have to have a really pencily voice. I don't want to set the world on fire. And it really took on all of these different forms throughout, soul history and R&B history and doo-wop history. But you might not realize how interesting this guy's voice is until you try to imitate it. I'm going to try, but it's probably going to fail. You're my angel. You're the girl of my dreams. Of my dreams. I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. It's hard not to sound like Kermit the Frog while you're trying to do it, but really, I don't know. I think it's a really interesting voice, and I want to try to get better at that. Let's listen to just the backing band. We have that vibraphone. Drums. I think there's 2 basses. You're the one that's picked like a guitar. And there's a stand-up bass, I think, or a P bass. I'd like to thank you for waiting. Now the background vocals. We've heard a lot of doo-wop-a-doo, ba-ba-ba. But I'm sorry, rat-a-tat, which is imitating a snare drum, obviously. Rat-a-tat, ra-ka-ka. But rat-a-tat is an amazing doo-wop background vocal, and you would think that was used a lot, and I'm sure it was used somewhere, but I have hundreds and thousands of doo-wop songs, and it's not very common. If I can't even remember any other cases, but there probably are. I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. The background vocals are cool too, because they're not just singing the whole time like on some songs. They leave a lot of space for that lead vocal, right? So I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. Then the background vocals come back on Daddy's Home. Daddy's home. Saxophone. Daddy's home to stay. Sax. So good. Okay, first of all, that sax guy is like an A-list jazz dude. It's not just like Bob from down the street. But this is a great lesson for production and arrangement, is that saxophone can lay so far behind the beat on this thing. If he were to be playing it, right on the beat, it would sound really lame. And listen to how he lays back there like he is just on a beach somewhere. How you stay. You have to know as the producer which instruments should not be as strict on time and in the pocket and should be more plastic and flexible. But that is a great lesson that you take one instrument and give them rhythmic freedom. And a saxophone's a perfect instrument to do that. Everyone else is pretty freaking in the pocket. The drums, the bass, the vibraphone, whatever else. There might be a guitar in there. I don't even hear it. Oh, Steve Jobs, the ghost of what is next? This is obviously music from a different country. It's from a Sublime Frequencies collection. I don't even know which collection it's from. I don't know what country, but man, that is some crazy stuff. Listen to the microtones on the strings. The strings are not playing Arabic. And listen to those recorded tones. This is my buddy Alan Bishop's record label Sublime Frequencies. They go all around the world and collect really exotic and interesting music and make compilations from them. We made a compilation, my band High Castle Tele Orchestra, of their label on Bandcamp. It has like what we think is the best tracks, but I wish I knew the country. Most of the tracks says it. The rhythm on that might be a little foreign to some of your ears, but the musicianship is nuts. All right, let's go to the third one. It's from Ethiopia. It's from an Ethiopian groove compilation. Using those Ethiopian scales. I have a video on that, guys, if you want to see what those scales are. I love, that's one of my favorite tracks on all of those Ethiopics compilations. So Ethiopia had a renaissance of music in the probably late 60s, early 70s before it got shut down, political circumstances and such. But it was a burgeoning scene there for a little bit and had some really good stuff. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Check that one out. Anshin Yaga Nalut. More Latin American, Peruvian. Cumbia de Desierto. Desert cumbia? Okay. Remember before I said the rhythm was loose on that surf stuff? This rhythm is not loose. Listen to those guys, man. That guitar tone is out of sight. And the super tight bass and percussion is very traditional in certain ways, but the surf guitar exotica aspect is not. So that's Los Destellos. Morricone. So good. The sound of that vocal. Listen to how buried it is in reverb. Chord progression's really nice too. The strings kind of going with the melody. Nobody does simpler stuff than this guy, where it's just like literally a string section doubling the vocal melody, but through lots of reverb, and it just sounds so grand. Morricone is unmatchable. That rhythm section in the background is no slouch either. That one's called Un Spiaggia a Mezzogiorno. I don't know what movie that's from. No clue. Really weird modulation. It feels... Of course, it's got to end way up there in the octavosphere. It could not be simpler. Some of those chords are a little bit advanced, but just the simple melody with strings and vocals and this groove and rhythm section. I mean, what could be a simpler idea? But listen to how he pulled that off. This was like that wall of sound that Phil Spector Wrecking Crew scene in Italy. They had the same type of guys doing all these film scores. Listen to these guys, man. It's nothing fancy, but... harpsichord through reverbs. What reverb unit is that, man? Is it an echo chamber? Is it a plate? Both? Okay, check that one out, man. Love Morricone. You've probably all heard this cheesy song, Jamaica Farewell before, kind of like this little island song, but Harry Belafonte way back in the day, this is another one of those voices kind of like on Daddy's Home, where I'm like, try to imitate the sound of this guy's voice. I love imitating voices because you can kind of figure out, how are they holding their mouth? I don't know. I think it's a fantastic exercise. People spend so much time saying, oh, you're copying this person. And, sometimes you do, but like you just want to figure out what's going on. How do you make that sound? Mike Patton, as many of you know, can really imitate voices very well. And it's a skill that is fun to at least try. It doesn't mean you want to sound like that guy, but after you imitate this person and this person and this person, maybe you've got like a new person and maybe that's you. Let's hear this, just a little bit of this Harry Belafonte.
Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines daily on the mountain top.
So unexcited in a great way.
On a sailing ship, and when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down.
Singing it so straight is a lot of times we want to do that singer thing where you're playing with the beat, and in this case, no, you're just kind of slightly laid back, but pretty by the book.
My head is turning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. Down
nice guitar in the background.
You can hear ladies
some kind of bells too, chimes. No, glockenspiel or something. I don't know what it is.
Here I salt fish are nice, and the
I can't quite do it, as you can hear. I'm going to embarrass myself here today. I don't care. Just try to imitate this.
Sad to say, I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is turning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town.
Oh, it's a steel drum. There's a steel drum, of course. There's bass. Anyway, you've probably heard that song before. We used to do it in choir class in high school. But Harry Belafonte, nice voice, and definitely before people were more unhinged with their vocal rhythms. And I think that's a good lesson, is to take a step back sometimes and not try to be so free all the time. So you can learn a lot by imitating these people. You something you might have heard for years even, until you try to imitate it, you don't really know what you're dealing with. And then you realize, how silly you sound. I've sounded horrible so far here today on some of these, but I'll try. Oh, Orbit Swing from a Cosmos soundtrack. I don't even know who wrote it. Okay, producers, engineers, bands out there. Nobody is making stuff that sounds like this. Listen to that liberal use of whatever delay. I don't know if this was in the 70s. Was it some kind of one of the first digital delays? Was it some kind of tape echo? I don't know, but it's brush, snare drum, bass. Muted trumpets going through that delay. It's a fast delay. Everything's going through it, I think. What's that lead? What kind of bell is that? I mean, most of us would be too scared to put like your entire production through some crazy delay, but that sounds absolutely ethereal. It sounds out of this world. So much of our music sounds like it's rooted here in Earth with our drum beats and everything. Listen to what effect that has by putting... You could put your whole mix just straight through that, and it would probably sound kind of like that. Ooh, clarinet. It goes to more like a Yiddish polka thing there. Klezmer. It's like a klezmer cosmic sound... Anyway, Cosmos soundtrack, Orbit Swing. Wow. One of the best productions I've ever heard in my life. That's what I want my stuff to sound like. I feel like I'm on like a, one of those swings at Disneyland, but it's like out in space or something. I don't know. Cool. Very cool tune. Let's do one or two more before we wrap up this Friday music appreciation reel that I do here. I just wanted an easy win. All my stuff takes me forever to make and edit and all this stuff, and I'm stuck video editing, and I'm not even a video editor. So I just wanted to like share some music and have you guys be able to just learn from something you might not have heard before. Yeah. Okay, Joe Meek is the original producer who got really strange outer space sounds with his own studio gear and feeding stuff back. This is Joe Meek. He was a producer, not a band, so I think he was producing the Blue Men. But listen to these tape feedbacks he would get and this outrageous sounds. He had a #1 hit with that song Telstar back in 62 maybe. I don't know, remember what it was. But man, listen to those sounds. It's crazy. Wow. Yeah, talk about psychedelic cartoonish. Nice stereo spread there. The organ seems to be on the right side, or at least I don't know if my headphones are on the right side. And the slide guitar on the other side. And what on earth is that shaker going through? Some kind of distortion? It's very extreme from a production standpoint, right? Am I wrong here? It's very bold. Most people don't set out to be like, I want like a shaker sound that's gonna rip your face off. But not in like a metal kind of rip your face off, just to like, I don't know. It's extreme, but it's also smooth. Only critique would be it's like a little cartoonish, and like I said earlier, some productions just elevate songs. On a piano, I'm not really sure how great this song would sound. Oh wow, da-da, da-da, da. You know, you'd be like, okay, cool. And then you, what if someone in your band came and showed you the tune, and then you played it on the piano, and you're like, then they brought this back to you, and you're like, holy crap, okay. Very strange. Evaluate that relationship between composition and production. Both together, you've got absolute gold, but you could take a mediocre-ish song and make it much better with amazing production. But it's never the goal. Never the goal. You can't polish an absolute turd, but you can make a lot out of, you know, a sound recording. If you have the liberty to do it, or the freedom. Why did I use the same word twice? I don't know. There was a bunch of delay on there, too. Let's do one or two more and then just call it. Ah! Oh my God, I'm leaving that in. My wife sneaks up on me and scares me. I've got headphones on. I told her don't do it. It hurts my neck when I get shocked. She knew I was recording. She was probably trying to be nice, but it still scared the freaking hell out of me, dude. Jeez, okay. And we're not going to be reviewing Weezer either, so there's... She wants me to pause now. Okay, last one. Modus Vivendi, South America. Thanks.